Hello everyone and welcome to the series of direct and indirect speech. Today in this video I'll be explaining using direct and indirect speech in simple present tense in passive form with all structures. Whether you're an English teacher or a student of advanced or intermediate level, you definitely need this lesson. Which is explained in a very simple and comprehensive way. So stay with me till the end of the explanation. First of all, affirmative sentences have broad structures for both direct speech and indirect speech. So I want you to pay close attention to the first structure because on the first slide I'm going to explain the structure, and then it won't be necessary to explain it on each slide. So RS here means the reporting speech. If you remember, in the first video I explained that a direct speech has two parts, the reporting speech and the reported speech. So it starts with the reporting speech, and here RS stands for reporting speech. Then you need a comma. So here, to match the example with the structure, she said this is reporting speech, and after that we need a comma. Then look at the structure. You see quotation marks, then you start the quotation marks. So here in the example, the quotation marks are here. Then subject, which is my car over here. Then the to be verb is according to the tense. Simple present tense, obviously we use SMR according to the subject. So my car is third person singular subject, the to be verb is. And then main verb in third form. In all 12 tenses in passive form, the main verb should be in third form or past participle form. Then BP means by phrase. So by phrase, it's broad. Inside parentheses, which means sometimes there may be by phrase, sometimes there may not be by phrase. It's kind of optional. So sometimes it's not necessary to bring it. And then if you have anything else after by phrase, that could be rest of the sentence. Or you can just say by phrase. Whatever comes after by phrase, that's all. That's just rest of the sentence. And then PM here means like punctuation mark. You need a punctuation mark inside, quotation marks, like you see the dot, the period over here. And then quotation marks, again, you close, the quotation marks. And then outside the quotation marks, again, you need a punctuation mark that you see over here, the period. And I've explained this in my first video, okay? That was, about the general rules of direct and indirect speech. And it's available, it's there. If you go to the playlist of direct and indirect speech, you will find it there. So I've explained each and every rule over there. So now when you change this to indirect speech, of course you bring some changes in indirect speech because you wanna report someone's speech in your own words with some changes. So that's indirect speech. So again, reporting speech, then the word that. See, comma is not used in indirect speech. In direct speech, you use a comma, okay, between the two parts of the direct speech. But in indirect speech, you do not use any comma. Instead of comma, you use the conjunction that in affirmative and negative sentences. Then subject, then main verb in second form, because you change, simple present tense, simple past tense. You go one tense back, okay? And then main verb in third form, then by phrase. If there's anything else, rest of the sentence, then punctuation mark at the end of your sentence, okay? Quotation marks are not necessary, okay? And two punctuation marks are not necessary here because now it's just your sentence. But there, you had two sentences. From the beginning, it was your sentence, and that's why you needed a period at the end, at the very end, okay, for your sentence. Inside the quotation marks, it was somebody else's, speech, it was somebody else's sentence, and therefore you needed, a quotation mark inside, a punctuation mark inside the quotation marks. So I hope this idea is clear. So this is how you change it. She told me that her car was fixed by the mechanic. So here she said, so she told me that, or she said to me that, or she said that. That's even possible. You can bring different phrases, but comma is not necessary. Instead of comma, use the conjunction that. She told me that. And my car is changed to her car because first person pronouns are changed to third person. So my car, her car is I mean, to be verb is changed to was, because simple present tense should be changed to simple past tense. Was fixed by the mechanic. So this is how you change affirmative sentences from direct speech into indirect speech in simple present tense. Now, negative sentences. Almost similar rules are used for negative sentences. So look at the example. He said, your brother is not invited here today. He said, your brother is not invited here today. So look at the changes over here. He told me that your brother, my brother, is not, was not, invited, invited, here today, there that day. So a lot of changes in this example. So your brother is changed to my brother, and is not is changed to was not. Invited, I mean the same word, no change. But here, I mean adverb of place, here is changed to there, and today is changed to that day. So he told me that my brother was not invited there that day. For interrogative sentences, the only thing that you need to know is, instead of the conjunction that in indirect speech, you use if or whether. So it's up to you. I mean, if is more common, so you can use if, or you can use whether. This is not a problem. So now look at the example. He asked, is she trained by you how to cook? Is she trained by you how to cook? Okay, so now it goes with the structure. I mean, R is reporting speech, he asked, then comma, so here's the comma. Then quotation marks start, so here we have the quotation marks. Then to be verb is, then subject she, then trained by you, so past participle, third form trained, and by you, by phrase, how to cook, rest of the sentence. And then punctuation mark inside, you know, because it's a question, it starts with the auxiliary is. So inside the quotation marks, you have a question. Therefore, you use question mark. But outside the quotation marks, again punctuation mark, and you use a period. Why? Because that is for your sentence from the very beginning, which starts with the subject, and from the beginning, your sentence is not a question. But inside your sentence, there is a question inside quotation mark. So it's direct speech. And when you change it to indirect speech, instead of comma, you use if, the conjunction if. So he asked me if she was trained by me how to cook. And you can see the other changes, like is she is changed to if she was. So first of all, there's inversion, like the positions of the verb, I mean the helping verb and the subject are changed. Like here the helping verb comes first and then she, okay, is she. But here, she, subject comes first and then the to be verb. And plus the to be verb is changed to its second form, so she was. And then you is changed to me. So these are the changes that you needed to bring in this sentence. Now, negative interrogative sentences. Again, we use if, the conjunction if instead of comma. So look at the example. She asked, are not they given the information? Or you can use the short form, aren't they given the information? So the complete form, are not they given the information? Short form, aren't they given the information? The short form is very common, okay? Aren't they given the information? Okay, so here there's the structure. I mean, if you need to write down the structure, you can pause the video over here and you can just write it down, or whatever. You can take a picture of it, okay, in case you need it for the future, if you're an English teacher or a student of advanced level and you're trying to make more examples using the structure, so you can do that. Indirect speech, when you change it to indirect, again, instead of comma, you use the conjunction if. So she asked me if they were not or they weren't given the information. What do you do with WH or information questions? For direct speech, this is your structure. So one thing that you should keep in mind, like in affirmative and negative sentences, you are using the conjunction that instead of comma in indirect speech. In questions, like yes no questions and negative interrogative sentences, you are using if, the conjunction if, or whether instead of comma in your indirect speech. But when it comes to information questions, you do not use any of those conjunctions, okay? The WH question word itself here functions as conjunction over here, so you do not need any conjunction. Look at the structure. You need, at the beginning, you need reporting speech, then comma, then WH question word. No conjunction, okay? Here, no conjunction. So WH question word, then to be verb, then subject, main verb in third form, by phrase. There could be rest of the sentence, punctuation mark, then quotation marks, and then outside the quotation marks, punctuation mark. So look at the example. She asked, comma, in quotation marks started here. Why is Ukraine attacked by Russia? Why is Ukraine attacked by Russia? So, inside the quotation marks, you see a question mark. But outside the quotation marks, you see, period. Why? Because from the beginning, it's your sentence. It starts with the subject. It's not a question from the beginning. And that punctuation mark is for your sentence outside the quotation marks. But inside the quotation marks, which is somebody else's speech or sentence, starts with the WH question word, and you see inversion over here. The to be verb comes first and then subject, so it's a question, and therefore inside the quotation marks you need the question mark. So two different punctuation marks. This is how it works. Okay, and don't forget this. Keep these rules in mind when you make for example, sentences using direct speech, and then when you're trying to change them to indirect speech, follow these rules. So now here, as I told you at the beginning, she wanted to know why, the WH question word, why. That should not be used. You should not say she wanted to know that why, okay, or if why. It's not necessary. Conjunction is not necessary over here. So she wanted to know why Ukraine was attacked by Russia. You may also say she asked me why Ukraine was attacked by Russia. That's also possible, but it's a very formal way to say she wanted to know. Why? Because it's kind of information question. The person needed some information about something. Therefore, the best phrase for information questions is he wanted to know, she wanted to know, they wanted to know. Okay, and then you start. Your sentence directly, but the changes are here that you don't need quotation marks in indirect speech. You bring some changes like here is Ukraine and then Ukraine was, inversion, and of course, the present form of to be is changed to past form, is changed to was, and inversion is done over here. The positions are changed over here, is Ukraine and Ukraine was. So some changes should be brought because this is how, indirect speech is. You want to bring somebody's speech in your own words with some changes, okay? So she wanted to know why Ukraine was attacked by Russia. Like and share this video if you have liked it. And have a great time. Bye-bye.